Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, it is the start of a brand new month, the start of a new financial year, and in today's video, we have the tier list for the end of June 2024. In today's video, we're taking all the legends in the game, putting them onto a tier list for you guys to break down the entirety of the game. That includes anything you can find in the Recollective Archive, PKA, 10-star Kazuna, Super Boss, PvP, Treasure Map. What else have we got now? Co-op. Like, any piece of content that involves PvE is where we are looking at ranking these characters today. Now, before we dive into the tier list, obviously this is my personal opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. If you guys agree, let me know in the comment section below, and if you disagree, let me know down below as well. We are obviously at the end of the 10th anniversary. The banners are gone. Some of the best banners we've ever seen. But if you are a new player watching this video, don't stress. You do have the startup banner. It is very, very good, and you can still attain a lot of these characters that are on the tier list. Ranking characters is very challenging because it's quite subjective nowadays. Pretty much every legend can clear every piece of content with the right support. So what we're ranking these characters on are power, speed, reliability, their classes, their colors, how good they are on the team, on their own team, on substitute teams, and obviously we have a bunch of tiers to break that down. If you guys have any ideas or anything that you would like to add for the tier list, like I said, let me know down below, and while you're down there, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button. During the big celebrations, I'll do end game tier list where we rank sort of the big three as a little bit higher. But look, OPTC's got into a bit more of a cycle now where we always have something going all the time. So older characters, newer characters have become a little bit more valuable across the board rather than just in particular game modes. But like I said, with that said, let's take a look at the characters for June 2024 post 10th anniversary. So as of last month, this is pretty much what the tier list looks like. We are going to make some changes as we do every single month to the tier list before we dive into the new characters. We only have about 5 characters to talk about since the post 10th anniversary, and we are in the era of the memories of the Straw Hat. This will probably go until about August, I feel. But for now, this is the tier list that we had at the end of May, moving into the month of June. And obviously, as you can see, we have the big 3 of the anniversary Super Sugos sitting comfortably in the top 10. As for the best unit of the game, for new players, remember this tier list is more targeted towards every single player in the game. The mid-game guy is probably, this tier list is going to suit the best. But I feel as an end-game player, you'll agree that these are some of the best characters in the game. Your order might be a little bit different in terms of your top 10. Let me know in the comment section below if it is. But for me, Gear 5 6-star, he's just still the best. His ability to bypass blind, special reverse, and then obviously go through defensive effects is what makes him so valuable. Yeah, you guys have used him. You guys know how good he is. He's almost a year old now, and he's still at the top of the list. As for his 6+ variant, whether you guys have this as the best unit in the game because you like damage and Super Boss, or you have this unit the best because he's just so good in literally every piece of content, like 10-star Kazunas, all that sort of finicky shit you have to deal with. 10-star Kazunas, co-op, PK, all of those type areas of the game. Next we got Zoro Sanji. Zoro Sanji's demon in basically everywhere you put them. Co-op, they're amazing. They're great in regular content. 10-star Kazunas, Super Boss Kazunas. They're amazing in PvP. They're amazing in Grand Party. Like, they're just fantastic. Next we got the 3 anniversary characters. If you have them like this, excellent. If you have them like this, excellent. Like, if you have them like this, excellent. For myself, I think Ace is probably the best for new players. Shanks is best for the mid-game player, where Luffy's just better for your end-game tiers. Ace doesn't really need that much help, as he's a free spirit dex unit, and they have so many good options. Shanks is a Psi Cerebral slasher, which, again, has a fantastic array of characters. But then Luffy, being a powerhouse fighter in character, he definitely needs a lot more help for his teams to operate. However, like, he brings so much to his teams that it makes building those teams a little bit easier. For me, I like Shanks the most. I like the ability to remove barriers, even though we have a lot of Cerebral characters that can do that. Having that ability and the strength that Shanks have is amazing. The damage nullification that Ace provides is awesome, but having that blind removal of Shanks is really nice. And then the despair removal in Luffy's captain is just really, really good too. So, however you want to cook it, however you want to rock it, however you want to roll it, for me, they sort of hold the spot as your, like, top 5. Next, we've got Nami Karina. Nami Karina, fantastic in co-op, fantastic everywhere you put them. They're a treasure map whiz. Like, if you have Nami Karina and you're like skipping batches, like treasure map batches, which most people do, Nami Karina are going to carry you through like most of the final boss stages. Next, we got Uta. Uta's amazing with special mind and paralysis removal. Kaido is still a demon. I know a lot of people have dropped off Kaido, but like, go back and use Kaido. He's going to carry you through 99% of the game. It's ridiculous. Yes, every other character can carry you through as well that's above him. However, Kaido, if there's no normal attacks only, even with normal attacks only, Kaido just does it so easy with his burn and his additional damage. Finally got Roger, special bind removal. Roger, honestly, is probably creeping as the best super tandem in the game now, in my opinion, just because these characters are so good. And you literally just tap Roger, or you rush these characters into Roger, and you have yourself a super tandem. That's fantastic. Plus, he's an attack booster. He can be a color affinity booster. He can be an orb booster, which can't be blown away too. Plus, he removes defense up and attack down, which is a great utility. As for God tier, these characters, they're all sort of just not in the echelons that you see above them. They're all very, very good still, and they all hold very, very good value somewhere in the game, but they kind of dropped off a little bit. Characters I do want to bring down, though, I do want to bring Roger down to meta. I think Roger's big gimmick now is just in PvP. I use him quite a lot in PvP, but as for like everywhere else, I don't really use him all that much. Big Mom is great in terms of damage output, but she's starting to fall off as well. Blackbeard, he's starting to fall off too, but he's very, very good. If you just want to bypass defensive effects and you need to build a different team that's not Gear 5, like, Blackbeard's going to be your man, even if you don't buy into all of the class shenanigans that he actually needs. Yamato's fantastic with damage. Yamato and Ace are just absolutely elite. Nami, Sanji, Zoro, like, these characters are still very, very good. It hurts not having Nami in the top 10, but like, she's seen her time. This Uta and this Uta, I do want to sort of differentiate, and for me, I just find this in Uta way better than this quick one. If you just call them the same character, like, more power to you, but look, for a new player or a mid-game player that doesn't have excessive Kitsune insignias, nor has pulled 3 copies of Uta, like, just keep this one. Versus Yamato is still fantastic. K-Dad is incredible with attack down removal. Sabo and Ace, terrific in Grand Voyages, terrific in a lot of content, but it's starting to see its time. Atlas with the attack down removal is very, very good as well. And then S Snake. I think S Snake's so fantastic. She's so, so good. I don't think a lot of people appreciate how good she actually is. Moving down to meta now, there is some big changes that I want to do here. First of all, I want to bring you, like, just, like, down here somewhere. I think this Zoro is about as good as what Ulti is. So, yeah, wherever I put Ulti, that's where I want to put Zoro. 7 turns of paralysis removal is kind of cool. Like, base stats and whatever is kind of whatever. Like, this Zoro is just, he's not that good. He's good in PvP. I do really want to try him in PvP. But I'm not just going to put him in PvP yet, because I haven't really seen too much of what he can do. Wan L obviously got a 6+ this month, so we're going to talk about him. As for S tier level limit breaks, we're pretty fine there. S tier subs, I'm going to bring Hiyori up to meta. I think Hiyori has just seen so much play in PKA and in like 10-star Kazunas that, like, I can't ignore it. She's so good. She bounces back and forth. Yes, you're only ever going to use her as a sub. Don't get me wrong. You're never going to use her as a captain. But, like, for how much usability she has to go up here in meta. Kind of like what Shiroshi Mancherry is doing here now. Like, Shiroshi Mancherry, you're never using as a captain, but, like, what they're doing with their, like, pain removal and those really niche debuffs, like, Hiyori sort of fits that bill. The Wano orb thing is the big one, because, like, you can avoid, like, the interrupts for orb swaps. Very, very good unit. I'm going to bring Lilith down to S tier captain. I don't really use Lilith ever. I tried. Like, I really tried. But I just got to a point where I really just couldn't make her work. There's just other in-units that did it better. Namely Bonnie. Like, it's funny, because when Lilith and Bonnie came out, everyone was, like, frothing over Lilith and the double-stacking attack boost. But this Bonnie is just infinitely better. As for Sanji, Sanji's really, really good. I'm going to bring Luffy down to S tier captain. I think this Luffy is still better, in my opinion. But what this guy does as a captain now synergizes better than what Luffy was doing. But the accessibility you have with this guy is just a little bit nicer. But look, I think they're probably pretty equal in terms of what they're rocking. So I'm going to bring him down. As for Yamato, Yamato's starting to see her time in meta. I do want to bring this Luffy up, just with like co-op and 10-star Kazunas and longer content where you can actually get the ability of Luffy to pop off with the bind and the paralysis removal. He's very, very good. And the 5-turn attack boost is just exceptional for like intimidation debuffs nowadays. As for what else we got here? I kind of want to bring Robin Koala up. Robin Koala, like one of the most underrated units. Law Beppo, very, very good. Kid Killer, honestly, I kind of want to bring Kid Killer up. 3-turn chain boundary is exceptional, and then the 3-turn Color Phoenix really, really nice. They also give an all buff on their swap. They work exceptionally underneath this guy right here. Very, very good unit. I kind of want to bring Yamato down, but what can we do here? I'm going to bring... Marco's still really good with EXP. This Luffy kind of sucks, to be honest. He doesn't, though. Like, he still has a lot of special bind removal. X-Drake, I'm going to bring... X-Drake's still really, really good. He's got special reverse removal. Yeah, I think I'm still pretty happy with everyone up here. Cross skill's fantastic still. Dofi, Sugar, they do exceptional damage output. Momo's still very, very good. Robin, still holding her own. Uta's a fantastic unit, like a phenomenally fun unit. Robin and Jinbei. Robin and Jinbei have to come up into meta. Again, they're another unit like Hiyori that just like pops up everywhere. In terms of sub potential. And yeah, they just do it really, really well. Like, really, really well. I'm gonna bring Stella down to probably ST Captain. I don't even know if you'd really call him ST Captain. Again, I tried to make the cerebral Luffy team work, and it definitely can work, don't get me wrong. But the problem with Stella is that you need to run a full cerebral team, so trying to make Luffy work in that team can be very, very janky. Like, very, very janky. Sop, I think, deserves to be a little bit higher than here, but nowadays has definitely... Oh, look, I kind of want to actually bring Sop back up into meta, purely because you have the Usopp-Yasop combination for Shanks and Luffy. It's just one of those characters that can trigger both the EXs, which works really, really well. So I'm going to bring them back up into meta. I think Kid Law, they're kind of really good on damage teams. That's about it. I think I'm going to bring Dofi Sugar down here as well. I do think Dofi Sugar is better than Moria Perona. Don't get me wrong. But I just really haven't seen a world where I use Dofi Sugar over something like Bonnie. And for that quick team, I just haven't been able to make that work. As for Chopper can come back up into ST Captain. I think Chopper definitely deserves to be a little bit more respected than just the sub potential that he has. His healing is really, really nice. As for Neko Inu is starting to drop off. Like, speed captains aren't really becoming a thing anymore. But I'm still a huge fan of them. Sabo can be good with his auto trigger and his special bind removal, but like he's kind of falling off quite a bit. He still has a lot of power though, which is very, very good. X-Drake, honestly, I'm going to bring X-Drake down. I don't think I live in a world where I've used X-Drake as a captain in a hot minute. I do think he's probably better than a lot of these characters down here though. But most of the time, most of the time you can use him as a sub, so we'll bring him in S tier sub. His chain boundary removal is still good on Kaido teams, like really, really good on Kaido teams. As for everything else, I think I'm pretty happy with everything else, unless we're going to move some characters that are a little bit lower into PvP. This too, by the way, for new players that don't understand what LLB stands for, it means level limit break. These characters here all have 6+, and they are all this high on the tier list because they have a level 5 buff when you have 10 copies of the unit. I didn't want to put them in the same category as something like these characters here, purely because you need to have them in the max potential for them to be this high on the tier list. And if we started adding dupe copies of characters, like, the tier list would just be fucking forever. 80 captains, again, just not as good as S tier captains. 80 subs, just not as good as S tier subs. And then sort of as we make our way down now, we got 80 level limit break, supports. These characters here, you can pretty much just max out their support, call it a day. That doesn't mean there aren't other supports that are very, very good in the game. But as you can see, we're sort of just making our way down now. Yeah, you got the big tier level in rec, and then you got Need Some Love. Like, these characters here need some love so badly that it's, like, not even funny. And look, some of them will probably be approaching 6+ and stuff. But, yeah, they definitely need something. As for the new characters, though, we have 5 new Straw Hats and a 6+ lore to talk about today. I kind of got Sanji and Zoro into the back of the last video, and that's kind of what we're going to be doing with Robin and Nami here. Let me know if you guys have any changes for the tier lists, or you guys disagree with anything that we spoke about. But today, we're going to start it off with Usopp. And Usopp, it's very interesting. Usopp's abilities are very reminiscent of Cross Guild. If you guys don't know what Cross Guild does, Cross Guild has the ability to set target. This goes through full immunity, and it allows you to do double damage with particular colors or classes. Cross Guild allowed you to do quick driven slashes, 2 times damage. Usopp allows you to do Shooter, Dex, and Free Spirit. And the big thing about Usopp is the Free Spirit tag. Any character that's Free Spirit, in my opinion, is always going to be higher on this tier list. It makes them a little bit better than everything else, purely because of their Free Spirit, and they have access to some of the best units in the game. Yes, like, that's not going to break it, but, like, when look up here, you got Free Spirits, you got Free Spirits, you got Free Spirit, you got Free Spirit. Like, they're just everywhere, and they make very, very good teams. Another upside to the character is that he is an Usopp. Being an Usopp character allows you to trigger so many Zoro Super Tandems, stuff like Nami Super Tandems, triggers EXs of Luffy. And as I mentioned with Sop, bringing Sop back up here, you have that synergy with, like, this Luffy here, whether or not you're using them on those teams. But Usopp as a captain has a ability to give himself 10 turns of cooldown like the rest of the memories of the Straw Hats. But the real draw to the character that I think a lot of people would use him for is that set target ability. He has like a weird double delay system and all this fun stuff there. But utilizing him as a captain all the time, I just can't really see it being a thing. And I can kind of see him being used as a good unit on some damage-based teams. Still very, very good, but yeah, that's kind of the only place that I see him working very, very nicely. He does have an orb boost in his super type though, which is very, very good, and then you can increase orb boost that way. So I definitely think he'll see some play in certain areas, but I just don't really think that he's going to be a character that, one, you want to chase, and two, that you drastically need for your Dex teams or your Shooter teams or even your Free Spirit teams. He's kind of overshadowed in that regard. Still a very good unit, like very, very good unit, but I think he'll probably just fall at the high echelons of either S tier captain or S tier sub, as I don't really see a place where he can kind of just be thrown on every single team, unlike something like, look, I feel like I've got to put him next to Crossguild. What I'm using Crossguild for, Crossguild has some extra benefits, I guess, with the triple special activation that he has. But then again, Usopp kind of does have that pseudo double special. If your captain is a Dex, Shooter, or Free Spirit character using a special, you're going to get cooldowns that way. And if you partner up with like Ace, or you use him as a sub on an Ace team, Ace is going to give him the cooldowns that he needs to sort of get that double special activated. Downside to all these memories of the Straw Hat characters are they have a 15 turn cooldown, or a 14 turn cooldown, 13 with Limit Break expansion, which is a little bit of an issue unless you're utilizing their special on turn, like turn 4 or turn 2, whatever content you're doing, and then you're moving into the final stage and then utilizing it then. But nevertheless, like, Usopp is good. He's still just a good unit. His captain multipliers are a little bit low, 5.25, 5.5 hit matching slot. But he also has that ability to add 0.2 to the attack and orb boost when you are utilizing attack and orb boosting specials. So you can do some fun stuff there with him as a captain. Still, only being a 5.5 times captain with a super class to shooters is kind of like, yikes. But you definitely can do a lot of stuff with delay if you're utilizing like delay conditionals, but Usopp really is the guy that does that sort of delay conditional. You can remove Threshold as well, which is pretty useful. But I just think, yeah, most of the time you're going to use him for the set target ability, and that's basically where it comes in. I guess that's what like Crossguild does too with the Threshold removal too. But he's good. He's a good unit. Again, not one that I would chase, but definitely a good unit to have. And if you did manage to pull him, or he's going to be on another treasure map banner in the future, and you actually pick him up, be very, very happy, because he's probably the best Usopp in the game now I'm thinking about it. No, Sop's probably up there. Yeah, Sop's probably up there too. Alright, moving on to Chopper now. There's enough about Usopp. He moves defense up. He can remove poison. He does a bunch of healing shenanigans. And he does some tap timing stuff. He's a cerebral fighter powerhouse. No, what am I talking about? Cerebral fighter int character, who's also very, very good at synergizing with some of these top echelons of characters. Now, unlike Usopp only synergizing with Ace, Chopper has the ability to synergize with Shanks and Luffy. The problem with Chopper is he doesn't synergize with these three up here, which is what Usopp actually can do. But he's one of the characters that can remove poison. We don't have too many poison removers in the game. He also does tap timing bonus at 0.7 and carries 20% of the final tap ability over. And what you can actually do with these characters, as mentioned, they have that crewmate ability, where they get 10 turns of cooldown when their captain uses, or the captain of the same class or color utilizes a special. And the upside to this is Chopper being on a 14 turn cooldown means that you can utilize his special on turn 2 or turn 4, depending on the content, get these tap timing buffs that he has, and then use your captain's special ability to get 10 turns of cooldown. Now, this will still leave Chopper or Usopp or Sanji or whichever memory of the Straw Hat we're talking about, this will still leave them on a 2-turn cooldown. Unless you have Limit Break expansion and they're on a 1-turn cooldown. Nowadays, though, it's pretty easy to bring a ship or to bring another character that can do 1 turn of cooldown. Chopper, for example, has access to the Brûlée support, which gives 2 turns of cooldown. And what this does for Chopper, it allows you to utilize his special on turn 2 or turn 4, as I mentioned, get these tap timing buffs, and then bring in up to 1.7 chain boost for the next or the final stage. He also does a 30,000 heal, and if you've already used his special, he's going to double increase base attack boosts, which is very, very interesting if you are utilizing him with like this guy here. However, if you're utilizing him as a captain, he can apply the base attack boost as well. He can be up to a 5.75 to captain, depending on how much you've healed in the previous turn. And if you do anything to do like with the chain multiplier buff, he works very, very well in extending out for 1 turn. So if you're using him as a captain, you can use his special, and then you don't have to worry about getting his special back. You can use the super class to get a 1500 base attack boost, heal 30%, and then turn all block ops into tandem. The real upside to the character, and I definitely want to put him up in God tier purely for this one reason, he removes pain. 10 turns of pain removal just in his captain ability, which is very, very good, seeing as we only have one other character, I believe, in the game that has specific pain removal, being Boa. I feel like there's another one and I'm glossing over it. Maybe, it's the S Snake. Her super type does it. But having the ability to just remove pain as a flat rate is one of the most valuable abilities, purely because it's so new and it's so scarce right now. Not saying that Chopper will break the mold for that, but again, he's a God tier character, because if you can just bring him alongside, I don't know, this Luffy or this Shanks being Cerebral-based teams. Cerebral had a lot of love lately, by the way, so if you just put them together, you're going to do a lot of really, really good stuff. Plus, he does a 30,000 heal, which is going to be very, very good for the final 2 characters that we speak about and the synergy that he has there. Obviously, the Straw Hats, they're starting to come together. They work a bit nicer with each other. But Chopper, his best friend is going to be this particular Luffy, or even, look, this particular Shanks, as he does Cerebral and Fighter-based boosting. Moving on to the 6+ of the month, we had Wano Law, and man, I said to everyone, when this guy gets his 6+ in PvP, it is over. And honestly, yeah, he brought back Sai. Like, he's brought back Sai something fierce. You have so many options for Sai Free Spirit now, or just regular Sai. With this guy and Sanji, you can actually take down in teams again, which is great. But in regular play, he's absolutely fantastic as well. What this guy did really, really well was damage reduction, healing, stalling out turns, making his way into the next particular fight with healing back up and not having to worry about taking too much damage while you rebuild your specials. Now, this is great for stuff like Guard Challenge, Revolution Army 2, Heavenly Demon 2, Forest, all that fun stuff that like a lot of new players or mid-game players would really struggle with. Nowadays, we've had such a power creep, and we haven't had any of these new pieces of content that this type of mechanic doesn't really see all that much play. What they did bring to Law, though, is they brought an ability to get a 30% heal with the damage received in the previous turn as healing into the next turn. And if you overheal 30,000, you are going to remove 10 turns of Despair in his captain ability, which is very, very good for a regular legend that doesn't have a super class or a super type or any of these crazy abilities. However, in short content, it's going to be very hard to get that 30,000 heal. It's going to be very, very hard to bring the character across with that 10 turns of Despair. Now, you definitely can do it. And I did a showcase in the Kizuna where I just used Cherish Man Cherry, we healed, we removed a bunch of debuffs, and then we just used Law to remove the Despair on the final stage. That works great. But as a captain, I can't really see too many areas where you want to use this guy, except for the fact that he has such variety in classes. He boosts Free Spirit, Fighters, Strikers, Slashers, Cerebral characters by 5.5 if you have full HP. And obviously with overhealing nowadays, you can easily just abuse that. And having an array of characters that you can put on the team when it comes to that. Now, if you bring this guy up here into S tier level limit break for a second, and we go back to the top here and we have a look. Free Spirit, Fighter, Free Spirit, Slasher, Cerebral, Free Spirit, Fighter, Free Spirit, Cerebral, Slasher. Like, Law can work with every single one of these characters as a captain. Yes, you'll miss out on a lot, but his synergy options are through the goddamn roof. Plus, as a captain, he can turn int orbs into Wano slots. So if you do like something with this, you can just get a full board of Wano slots and then just, lock them somehow or do some fun stuff there. Or if you're utilizing this guy as a captain and then you bring Law on the team and you get a 3-turn attack boost, then Law's got a Wano orb, so you use his special, which if you have a Wano orb, it gives you 3 turns of an orb buff, 3 turns of a chain boundary ability, at 2.75, making it 35, and at 2.75 times attack boost, that is just flat rate across the board. Now, you do need to have one of the primary classes and one of the secondary classes, but all the anniversary characters have that. This guy works so well with them. He does orb manipulation. He does end of turn damage now, which is great. He gives you a full board of orbs, not just block or unfavorable orbs. He's so good. He's probably one of the best 6+s that we've seen in a very long time. And look, we've had some absolute bangers recently. Like, Lucci is phenomenal. Kaido is a demon. Shanks is incredible. Rayleigh is a beast. Bonnie is just absolutely insane. And just to see this guy be this good while standing alongside these, to me, it's just really, really good signs for the 6+s moving forward. But, as mentioned at the start, I do think most people are going to use this guy in PvP, especially if you're an endgame player. Besides the boosted meta, like myself, I don't really see myself ever using Law as my primary captain. But in saying that, he's actually a lot of fun. I did a showcase with him, and he was a lot of fun to use. But he gives the CT speed for Sai at level 6 still. He now does an attack up level 5, which is an added increase. He still nerfs Driven Powerhouse by level 6 CT. He has level 6 guard down and speed down now. So he's really nerfing Driven Powerhouse units. And even though the int team is moving away from Driven Powerhouse, there's still a lot of very good characters on there that Law can do some damage to. The Giants, both Powerhouse units, just got their level limit breaks as well. Very, very powerful characters. Obviously, the new Luffy being just a primary force on that particular team too, which is very, very good. His special got a huge update by removing half stats, which is very, very nice. Plus, he can do up to 3,500 damage now rather than the 2,500 in a large range instead of a medium range, I believe. So he's very, very good. I'm going to put him up here in S tier level limit break. However, I'm going to leave this Law down here in PvP Focus because I do want to represent both Laws in both areas because I do think he's just better than just a very, very good PvP character. On our way down now, we have the 2 new legends, and Robin and Nami, as of me recording this video, have literally just come out. They came out yesterday on the banner. I actually did some stuff, and that video will be out in a little bit, but I managed to pick up Nami. And Nami's really, really good. And out of the 2, I really wanted Nami the most because Nami has some really, really good synergy with Yamato. Now, Nami as a captain has that standard paralysis removal shenanigans that she does. And obviously, as mentioned, she is just a memory of the Straw Hat character. She has a super type for Dex, which I really like. I like that she's super type, not super cerebral, which is awesome. But her super type is awesome because she's a self-proccing conditional boost. But unfortunately, it doesn't go through full immunity. She applies paralysis and then doubles the damage to increased damage taken all paralysis based units. Her captain ability, it's a little bit lackluster if I'm completely honest, but she does 2 turns of cooldown, which is really, really nice. She only buffs Cerebral Strikers and Dex characters by 5.25, 1.3 HP, but then adds an additional 1.1 if they have a status ability. So if you have something like paralysis, increased damage taken, poison, she's going to add that 1.1. And this goes up to about a 5.775 captain, which is good. Really, really good. Unfortunately, it is conditional. She does 3 times her recovery as end of turn healing, and she makes Dex, Psi, and Tandem mobs have matching slot effects as captain. She also boosts the chance of landing on Tandem as well, which is awesome, but she's a final tap unit that has a really shitty final tap. So, like, it is what it is. That's something I didn't talk about with Chopper as well. He has, like, a pretty shitty final tap, and look, so does Usopp. So it is, like I said, it is what it is. But Nami as a sub has some really, really good potential as her special does a lot. 7 turns of Special Bind, which she's also immune to Special Bind with her her Sailor ability. She also has that unique ability where she gets 10 turns of cooldown when your captain, being a Cerebral Striker or Cerebral character, uses a special. But her special, like I said, 7 turns of Special Bind removal, 1 turn of locking orbs, and then changes all orbs, including block, into tandem. Now, this is fantastic. Any character that can give you tandem orbs and lock them, whew, that's very, very nice. Very, very nice ability. Boost the attack of the next final type of Dex Cerebral Strikes by 30%, which you might say is pretty bad, but, like, Yamato exists. And with all of the shit that she's doing, where did I put her? She's up here. All the shit that she's doing with all the final type stuff, that 30% just sends her final type to the goddamn moon. If the enemy has an increased damage taken effect, you can increase it up to 2 times, which again, Yamato actually does, which is pretty nuts. And if you've healed above 30,000 healing, sets the chain multiplier at 3.5 up to 30 for 2 turns. If you haven't healed 30,000, it's just a 3.0. Now, this is still massive. Like, a 3 times chain boundary up to 35 is huge, but a 3.5? There's only one other character that does that, and that is the Carrot and Nami, where are you? Carrot and Nami, Treasure Map Legend. Where did I put them? They're an ST sub, right? Yeah, this legend right here. And they're pretty reminiscent of this particular character, because she can actually remove Special Blind. She can also do that chain boundary effect, which is really, really nice. However, if you use her special, she's going to further increase the chain multiplier lock by 0.5, which includes her own, and adds 0.5 to the increased damage taken effect. Now, this last part is massive. Absolutely massive. Now, I know a lot of people are hating on this celebration because this weird pseudo-double special that the characters kind of don't have with their first 14-turn cooldown is rubbing people the wrong way. However, I think people are looking at it a little bit incorrectly, in the sense that if you use their special on the turn before the final stage and move into the final stage, you get 2 turns of cooldown. So therefore, you only need to make up 2 turns of cooldown because of their sailor ability. Yes, you have to build the team right, and obviously you need your captain or a captain to be one of the classes and colors, but if you then use a special to get cooldowns, use their special, you get the cooldowns in the Sailor, and then you can use another ability to get the 2 turns of cooldown. Now, if you Limit Break expand them, yes, they go down to 1 turn, which is even better. But again, just like Chopper, Nami has access to the Brûlé support, which gives her 2 turns of cooldown. Yamato gives cooldowns in her EX. Nami's just freaking crazy with the synergy that she has with this Yamato. And that's a big reason why I wanted her. She has some really, really cool stuff in PvP as well, like for strikers, but that strikers aren't exactly there yet. But what she is doing alongside this Yamato, I really want to try and put together a showcase for, because I just think the potential of these 2 units together is going to be absolutely insane. Like, ridiculously insane. Increasing the increased damage taken up to 2 times when Yamato has already made it at 2.25, and then increasing it by 0.5 again, making it 2.75. Then you have your, your 3.5 chain multiplier that you could possibly get to 4 times. This is big. Like, this is a really, really big damage unit. The downside I do find to Nami, though, is that we just had Kid Killer come out, and Kid Killer kind of does that same chain boundary shenanigans, but isn't a strike unit, so you got, like, different classes. Chopper is giving you a 30,000 heal as well, so if you use Chopper on the turn before as well, and you're running a Cerebral-based captain or a Cerebral team, you can then use their special to get the 10 tons of cooldown back for both of these characters, and then Chopper's giving you that tap timing bonus into the 1.7 on top of another tap timing at 0.7, where this unit's doing now a 4 times chain boundary. Like, you can just do some ridiculous things. If you use her as a captain, you're getting a conditional boost as well. So not only does she have great utility with orb manipulation and special bind removal, but she's also got ridiculous damage output with some very niche abilities. And the reason that I want to put her up here in God tier is because of these niche abilities. Characters I'm looking at here that I really want to bring down. I'm going to bring Luffy Yamato down to meta. I still think Luffy Yamato have the potential to be fucking insane, but just the fact they're a Luffy and a Yamato really hurts the character. As with Big Mom, I've been sort of dwelling on it as time's been going on. I'm going to bring Big Mom down now. We just don't really ever use her as a captain anymore, but she's still very, very good. And I'm going to bring Blackbeard down as well. I think Blackbeard's still really, really good, but he's just become quite niche ability. Like, and just Driven Powerhouse characters, man, they do struggle quite a bit. If you're not running sort of like some of these other teams. But yeah, Nami, she's a regular legend, so do not chase her. Please, for the love of God, do not chase her. But she's still just absolutely exceptional. I'm also going to do that as well. She's, yeah, when you pick her up on a ticket, like, she's just going to be ridiculously powerful. Like, ridiculously powerful. Moving on to the final character, though, we have Robin. And obviously, Robin and Nami work, like, hand in hand. Purely because Robin is the character that applies that increased damage taken. Not only that, Robin can actually apply the increased damage taken that goes through full immunity, which is really, really good. You do need that 30,000 healing, just like Nami. However, if you do use something like Chopper, being a cerebral character, you can do some really, really nice stuff. Now, she is a super class 2 cerebral-based units, so this is a little bit interesting, but obviously with Shanks just coming out, like we have that. Plus, she also can do some stuff with the chain boundary. She gives a chain boundary. Plus, she increases the increased damage taken effect. Her special, as I mentioned, she can remove barriers and damage nullification. This is actually like a really, really nice ability to remove 2 very, very niche and key debuffs. Shanks and Ace are just going to eat so good this particular month. But she also applies a 1.5 chain multiplicative buff as well. Now, this obviously works hand in hand with Nami, and can remove 7 turns of resilience. I'm not a huge fan of resilience removal because, like, I 9 times out of 10 would just use end of turn damage. But given this latest Kazuna and seeing that sort of anti-heal debuff and being at low HP and rush abilities and stuff, sometimes you're going to want to remove the resilience rather than just utilize the end of turn damage to actually bypass that. She allows you to buff the chain lock multiplier 2 times, which is very interesting. And then if you've healed over 30,000, she applies that 2.25 increased damage taken that goes through full immunity. Otherwise, she applies a 1.75 that does not. If you have used her special, again, just like the rest of these characters, going down to a 13-turn cooldown, and with that 10 turns with Limit Break expansion, she is going to have the ability to increase the chain lock multiplier and add chain lock multiplier by 0.5, and then add an extra 0.25 onto the chain additional boost. So I think the big draw to Robin is that she has that 2.25 conditional. She has a super tandem too, but her super tandem is like kind of whatever. It's just that ability to apply a 2.25 conditional to the enemy, and like that is where, sorry, not conditional, increased damage taken, and that is where most of her play is going to try and be seen. In terms of getting that overheal from something like Chopper with the 30,000, and then utilize her to sort of come into the back end and actually apply this 2.25. However, I just think there's other units that can do this a little bit nicer. Yeah, sure, I wish Nami did it herself, but her synergy with something like Yamato compared to something like Robin, in my eyes, it's just chalk and cheese, and I just think that this combination is going to work better than this combination, which is a little bit ironic. But at the same time, it's still very, very good. And if you pull Robin, like, be very, very happy. Like, she's a very good unit. Just those niche buffs alone, like resilience removal, barrier removal, and damage nullification removal, are going to make the unit see play. But nowadays, there's just other ways to get around them. There's other characters that have come out that are very, very good at getting around them. And I think you're going to opt for those units rather than trying to use something like Robin. But that's going to wrap up the tier list. I'm pretty happy with this one, with where things stand. I do think some characters need to be brought up and some characters need to be changed around. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below with the changes. As for the top 10, besides maybe the Kaido and Blackbeard switcheroony, Kaido and Roger switcheroony, I definitely think that everyone else in the top 10 is still holding their own across the board for your sort of mid-game and all your areas of the game. So that's going to be the tier list for the end of June 2024. Like I said, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. While you're down there, belt like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.